Happy Monday, everyone, and happy birthday craziness happening today. We have happy belated, early, and present birthdays today for Shelley, Natalie, Rob Neal, and Rob Sweeney. So hopefully you guys have had and will have a fantastic day today, yesterday, tomorrow, all week. Who knows? Extend any celebration, have some fun, and we're going to make it a little extra special with this little piece right here. To get us to our work set today, we have plank to down dog with toe touch, 3 to 5 reps. Side plank for 15 to 30 seconds a side. Humeral glide to knee push-up for 3 to 5. PVC Prone Raise for 3 to 10 seconds. And 2 to 3 rounds of that piece right there. After that, we have a wide stance good morning for 5 reps. Into some side lunges for 30 seconds at a 303 tempo. Sumo Squat, air squat, and narrow squat for 3 each, just to really hit each area of that squat. And then a foot assisted pistol for 3 at, again, a 303 tempo. 3 to 5 rounds of that. Getting things primed up, ready for action. Moving into our practice round just to get your legs fired up for our wall run or perhaps the cardio you're going to choose for the workout, and a few burpees. Our workout consists of a wall run of 3 minutes, accumulative, so you're going to accumulate 3 minutes in wall run at a relatively hard pace. Once you're done that, you're finished with the wall run, and then you're going to do 10 rounds of air squat of 15 and 5 burpees. You just keep repeating that little couplet nice and fast, just right in the spot where you're at, and have fun with that one. Alright, so let's get you warmed up and ready for action, and have some fun today. Alright guys, let's get you warmed up. We'll get our feet under those hips. We're going to take the arms up big and tall. We're going to stretch over to one side. We're going to come back through to the other side, just waking things up a little bit, nice and slow. We're going to shrug those shoulders, pull them back down, scratch your back, and then reach through the elbow. We'll come back up. We're going to reach up overhead, scratch your back, and then reach through the elbow on the other side. Come back up, big reach, and then we're forward fold all the way down the floor. Walk up our shins. We'll come down, frame a foot, step back into our lizard. Nice and square in those hips. Inside hand, big reach. And we'll rotate down towards the floor. We're going to come back up, big stretch. And rotate down towards the floor. And big stretch. And rotate towards the floor. Come back up. Plant the hand. Outside hand, big reach to the sky. We'll come back down. We'll step that back. We'll start front foot back into our down dog, setting up those shoulders. And then we'll just come back into our plank, stepping the other foot up. Nice and square in those hips. We'll take the inside hand again all the way up to the sky. Rotate forearm to the floor. We'll come back up, big stretch. Rotate to the floor. Big stretch up. And one more time, rotate to the floor. And come back up. We'll plant the hand. Outside hand, big reach to the sky. Plant that hand. Step back into our down dog. Reaching those hips. Come back into our plank. Tiptoe those feet up. We're going to roll ourselves all the way up. Big stretch. Little shrug. Come back down. Bring the hands down. And get you guys ready for action. So what we're going to do, if you'd like to do some more gentle warm-up, please pause the video, come back to me, and I'm going to walk you through that first phase of work, which is going to start with a little bit of upper body movement. So we have our plank to down dog with toe touch to kickstart our day off together. So I'm going to get myself set up in my plank. So my feet are together, hands are in the shoulders. I'm going to pull the ribs and hips together, pressing through the shoulders so I'm nice and strong here. I'm going to pull my hips back, trying to keep those armpits pointing towards the toes and feeling like those lats are giving you a big hug around the body. Once we get to that comfortable down dog, we're going to take a hand, we're going to touch a toe, come back down, stabilize and set the shoulder, take the other hand, touch the toe, and then we'll come back into our plank. Nice and set, and move into our next rep. Something we really want to focus on again is that nice strong shoulder position in that down dog. Always focusing on getting those lats wrapping around, giving you a big hug. And again, making sure that that shoulder is strong and stable before you take that hand off of the ground to touch the toe. From there, we're going to move into our side plank. So in our side plank, I can get myself right from that last plank, and I can rotate into that side position. Shoulders over top of the hand, hips are squeezing up, and this hand can go anywhere it needs to go that I can balance and stay strong with. Don't forget to squeeze the glutes so we keep ourselves nice and straight and strong so we're not hiking at the hip going to squeeze and open up as best we can. Once I'm done that time, I'll come back through center, make sure I'm set through my plank, and then I'll rotate to the other side and work through that same thing on the opposite side. But always make sure when you're transitioning through to the other side, you set the shoulders, set the midsection, and make sure you're moving in with the best position possible. If you don't have that side plank balance just yet, that's fine. We set up in that strong plank, lower the one knee down for support. We turn, and then we get that same shoulder over hand position, and I squeeze and open into my supported side plank. So I'm working on staying nice and square to the side, solid, just with that one knee down, and then I can do the exact same thing as I transition to the opposite side. So set yourself up well for that one. You got a 15 to 30 second hold per side, depending on where you want to go with that. Set yourself up well, and enjoy the balance. After that, we can lay right down on the floor, and move into our humeral glide to knee push. So I'm going to bring my hands into my chest, so my wrist is stacked underneath of my elbow. I'm nice and strong here. I'm going to pull my shoulders forward, almost like I'm trying to touch them to the floor. This is where, again, we don't want them to be. We pull them back, so my elbow is stacked over my wrist. I pull my ribs and hips together, squeeze my glutes, press to my knees, keeping those shoulders down, and then I can choose to lower forward and down, or I can choose to take a tempo down. So we'll do one more rep. Shoulders come forward where we don't want them. Shoulders come back to where we want them. Lock everything in place. Press to the knees. And then we can also add in that 3, 2, 1 tempo. So working on maintaining that position. We set in the beginning, the entire time we lower down. So we want to make sure that those shoulders stay away from the ears and they stay down, set in that good strong position. Once we're done our humeral glides, we're already on the floor. We can work on that PVC Prone Raise for 3 to 10, or that lovely empty-handed Prone Raise, depending on what you got access to. All right, so we got our toes together into the floor. I'm going to squeeze my glutes. I'm going to pull my ribs and hips together, push my armpits down, hands into the floor so I can feel all that tension from pinky to pinky toe. And I'm going to set, maintaining that position, and then just lift the arms up as high as I can, or not as high. You might not even leave the ground, but that's okay. The idea here is to focus on that tension through the body, and then engage and try and lift through the shoulders. As we lift, we want to keep them pointing down to the floor. We don't want those armpits pointing to the outside, which is going to dump the shoulder in. We want to try and stay in that set position that we engaged through in the beginning when we were pressing everything down to the ground. So if you feel yourself coming up to lift the hands up, don't worry about getting them up so high. Keep them down and lift them to wherever you can, even if you can still feel the floor with your fingertips. That's okay. As a quick recap for that first piece of work, what we have is a plank to down dog with toe touch, 3 to 5 reps. Side plank for 15 to 30 seconds aside. Into our humeral glide to knee push-up for 3 to 5, adding in a tempo lower if you'd like. And then PVC Prone Raise or empty hand or towel at 3 at 10 second holds. 2 to 3 rounds. Pause that video, take those down, rewind it if you need to kind of look back at some things. But take it down, get your upper body and your core fired up. We're going to move down into the lower half now and focus a little bit more on that squat. So come back to me and we're just going to start that next phase, which is going to kickstart off with that wide stance good morning. So those toes are going to turn out a little bit, and I'm going to get set nice and tall. I'm going to squeeze, set my ribs and set my body position. I'm going to try and keep my big toes down and my feet flat as I pull my hips back. My knees can stay soft. And I'm going to come back down to that 90 degree or 45. I'll squeeze, stand tall, and open fully. So something to keep in mind as I turn the profile for you guys. The thing that's going to hinge the body is me pulling my hips back. And that's what allows my body to come forward. I'm not bending over, I'm hinging by pulling the hips back, way through the midfoot, big toe down, and keeping that body nice and straight. If you have a PVC or broomstick, you can attach it to the head, shoulder, and hips. Try and keep that broomstick or PVC attached the entire time, and that's a nice self-cueing mechanism to make sure you're staying flat. After that, we're going to move into our side lunge. So we have, again, our wide stance. Toes can be slightly turned out. And And I want you to think about squatting here. So hitting that, kind of taking that hip towards the heel and staying as upright as we can. So I'm gonna pull the hip back towards my heel, not too much, but just enough to stay nice and locked over that midfoot. I'm loading that nice solid position, and I'm gonna hold that active and then stand nice and slow at a 3:03 tempo. So again, my hip comes towards my heel. I stay tall in my chest, as deep as I can get with that position, and I stand tall. So if I feel myself leaning forward like the good morning, I want to make sure I'm fighting for that upright posture, or I stop at that range before it dumps on me and I tip forward. After that side lunge, I'm going to bring my feet in a little bit into my sumo stance, so a little bit wider stance than my normal squat stance. Toes are still turned out, and again, I'm going to pull my hips towards my heels, chest nice and tall. And I'm going to try and keep my weight right through that midfoot where that laces are, and my chest stays upright. My knees press out a little bit more than they would in a regular squat, just so they don't collapse inwards. But we're trying to keep that foot nice and flat as I work through that nice range of motion. There's no tempo on these, but it's always nice for the first couple to give yourself a little slower pace and so you can maintain that good position. From there, we move our feet in a little bit to our regular squat stance. So again, regular squat stance, all my mechanics are the same. I can pull my hips to my heels, my weight stays through my midfoot, nice flat foot, my body stays upright, and those knees are tracking the toes nicely. I don't have to push the knees out as hard as I do in the sumo, but we just want to make sure that they're not collapsing in and they're just staying where my toes are. So take your time through that air squat. Again, if you want to add in a tempo, be my guest. It's always good, it's always fun. From that, we go a little closer and we work on our narrow stance, and that can be anything inside of our squat stance. So depending on you and your ankles and your hips, you can play around with different widths, but just make sure we're staying same kind of criteria for your squat. But this one, you might not get as deep because it's gonna get hindered by those ankles and those hips. So really focus on your position. Take it down as far as you can maintain that upright torso, and really press into those shins to help stretch out those ankles. Again, this is one that's kind of nice to go a little slower so you can really feel your balance. It's really easy to come up onto those toes in this squat, so really focus on that midfoot so you're well balanced throughout the whole foot. Our last exercise in that work set is our foot assisted pistol. So we have 3 reps at a 3:03 tempo. I'm going to pick my favorite leg today, and that's going to be my right side. I'm going to bring my toe back just behind my foot so I have some support, just like we'd set up if we were going to do our single leg RDL. But instead of hinging, I'm going to squat. So I'm going to take my hip towards my heel. I'm going to take it nice and slow, as deep as I can maintain, trying to keep my weight over that flat foot, and then pressing as much through that leg as I can, using the back leg as a little bit of assistance. If you're finding that you're like, I can only get to here, all right, that's okay. We're still trying to learn that, open things up, and work on that single leg balance. So I only want you to go as deep as you can, and these have a 3:03 tempo. So they are a little slower, so you have the time to manage that position and make sure you're balanced well. As a recap, we have our wide stance good morning for 5 reps, side lunge for 30 seconds, 3:03 tempo, sumo squat for 3, air squat for 3, narrow squat for 3. If you'd like to add in a little bit of tempo for those, you can. Into our foot assisted pistol for 3 reps per side at a 3:03 tempo, 3 to 5 rounds. Working through that, just getting your legs, getting everything fired up, moving into that practice round. So pause the video, take down that squat stuff. We're really focusing on the squat today because that's a big part of our work set, and yeah, we're gonna get you ready to go. So pause, rock it, come back to me. We're gonna talk about the work set right away. Our work set today is gonna be a wall run of 3 minutes accumulation, or cardio piece of choice depending on what you have. I'll have a distance there. If you have a treadmill at home, a rower, bike, whatever you have, I'll put some distances down there for you. You'll hit that one time, and then you're gonna take down 10 rounds of 15 air squats and 5 burpees. So we've already talked about the air squat quite a bit, so I want you guys to keep that in mind, that all that information is in that previous warm-up. Think about what you got going on, but now is a chance you can work on a little bit more speed on your squat as long as you're hitting proper position and you're maintaining that flat foot contact. After that though, we have the burpee. So the burpee, I'll demonstrate a couple reps for you guys, a couple different options. We have our full range of motion burpee, where we come down, jump in, feet come flat, little hop. From there, I can also do a step back variation. So I step, step lower, press, step, step up. I have my two variations there, working on maintaining that good core position as I press to either my toes or my knees. That's up to you depending on where you're at for that push-up. But we want to make sure we're staying tight so we're not snaking up off the floor. Stay tight like we were in that humeral glide drill earlier on in the day. We also have our squat thrust variations, which is no push. So we have lots of variations there. Hands come down, feet come out, feet come in. I can come back down, I step out, jump in. I can come down, I can jump out, step in. Or I can step out, step in. Every variation though on that, again, revolves around that strong plank, strong core. So we're locking into that nice plank, which we worked on earlier on in the day. So focus on that position, watch out for that soft knee, soft hip position, and really focus on hitting that good plank every time. Good elbows on the burpee, good plank on the squat thrust, and again, with both, working on landing in that squat stance so we can land with flat feet, standing tall, which is really nice on the ankles and the Achilles. Quick recap on the workout again. Wall run, 3 minutes accumulation or cardio of choice. Then you're gonna take down 10 rounds of 15 air squats, 5 burpees. It's gonna get tough, but it's gonna be a nice quick work set, you guys. So I hope you have fun with it. Happy birthday to everyone. Shelley, Natalie, Rob, Neil, Rob, Sweeney. Enjoy your day, enjoy your week. It's a birthday extravaganza week, you guys. Lots of fun today. So enjoy, have a great Monday. We'll talk to you soon.